What's up, guys? I'm Chad Barnes, and welcome to the channel. Here, it's all about real car talk, from simple fixes to smart driving tips and keeping your ride in top shape. If that sounds good to you, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you watch all the way through. There's a lot of good stuff coming. Let's get to it.
The easiest way to find out which makes and models are more profitable for subsequent resale is to look at the value retention rating. There are a lot of them on the web, but it makes no sense to look at European or American ones, other models, different preferences of buyers, different market and tax realities. For Russia, the actual statistics has been provided for 10 years by Avtostat in its annual residual value ratings. When compiling the latest sample, experts analyzed prices for new and used cars of 55 brands, 335 models and 1,100 modifications. It shows the residual value of a used 3-year-old in 2021 compared to its value new in 2018. In the B segment, the most favorable for owners were Kia Rio, cost saving 106.7%, Renault Sandero, 104.7%, and, unexpectedly, Citroën C3 Aircross, 104.4%, which is rare on our roads. The situation is similar in the second most popular segment on the Russian market, among B crossovers. The first two lines are occupied by the best-selling Hyundai Creta, 112.7%, and Renault Duster, 106.3%. And in third place was the niche Suzuki Jimny, 105.5%. Oddities can be noticed in other classes, so a number of explanations need to be made. After which it will turn out that the ratings are worth focusing on with a few caveats. It is clear that in healthy economic conditions, the indicators obviously cannot be higher than the initial 100% of the price of a new car. However, in Russia, a significant price correction is constantly taking place and 3-year-old cars are sold on the secondary market for more than they cost when new. This only seems extremely profitable when you come to the dealer for a new car. You will be surprised at the prices, although you have just sold your old car very dearly if you believe the data from the table. Hence the second caveat. Value retention rates in a stable market depend on how slowly a used car loses value. In Russia, however, the key influence is the degree of appreciation of a new car because sellers of used cars, putting up a price, are oriented precisely on their value. That is why the top 3 often include models that are not very popular. They have simply skyrocketed in price over the past 3 years. How should it be in theory? Official inflation for 2018 to 2021 in Russia amounted to 22.2%. Under normal circumstances, it is considered that a car loses 20% in price in the first year alone. Thus, the natural price increase over 4 years is equivalent to just 1 year of use. This means that the cost of used cars should have fallen far below 100% compared to new cars. Well, what if we rely solely on exchange rates? The dollar from 2018 to 2021, if you average out the fluctuations, rose against the ruble by about 17%, the euro by 13%. This is even far below the official inflation rate, itself a fabulous indicator. It is clear that we have not had and could not have such a minuscule price rise. Everything falls into place if we rely on the real increase in the price of new cars. Unfortunately, real and official inflation are two big differences. The Renault Arcana Cross Coupe is a good example. The model came out in 2019 and has gone up in price by 50% in 2 years. Without restyling and other upgrades that traditionally affect the price. And without taking into account the latest price adjustment that happened the other day. Lada Granta, localized as much as possible, has risen in price by about 40% in 3 years. So, the vast majority of models have added about the same amount to the price. The price increase of new cars by 40 to 50% is approximately equal to the estimated loss in the cost of used cars. That's why in the analytics the residual value is about 100%. You just need to rely on real-life figures. You can give some working advice on choosing a car in isolation from the prices of specific models. Other things being equal, popular cars are less actively cheapening. They are sold by the tens of thousands annually, but there is excellent demand for them on the secondary market. Since this is the case, there is no point in dumping, and prices are kept relatively high. When choosing a new car in terms of subsequent resale will be favorable Lada, Kia, Hyundai, Renault or Toyota. But Citroën, Peugeot and Opel are more interesting for a buyer on the secondary market. Losses in value in the premium segment are always higher than in the mass segment. This axiom works in the Russian market as well. Take a look at the data from Avtostat. In the table with mass brands, figures below 100% are isolated, while in premium brands, on the contrary, they are the order of the day. And the more expensive the model, the higher the difference between new and used. Representative sedans, the most prestigious in the automobile hierarchy, retain their value the worst of all. A 3-year-old Mercedes S-Class will cost 81.4% of the price of a new one, Audi A8, 79.5%, Lexus LS, 67.3%, a third cheaper. And this is despite the fact that the cost of their new ones is also going up. New cars of domestic assembly become more expensive slower than imported ones. That is why the residual value ratings show paradoxes here and there. For example, the same Citroën C3 Aircross and Suzuki Jimny. They have noticeably increased in price over 3 years, and 3-year-olds are traded with regard to the price of new cars. There are reverse examples. Skoda Octavia is assembled in Russia and is very popular both without mileage and with mileage, but it is not in the top. Finally, there is the influence of brand magic. Russian buyers have a weakness for Toyota, Lexus and Mercedes-Benz. That is why many of them are among the best in their classes in terms of residual value. And it is more profitable to look for a Jaguar on the secondary market because it loses value faster than others. With such a rise in prices and economic turmoil in Russia, a car has become an investment object. It hardly ever gets cheaper over the years. It is a pity that this is just an illusion. It is shattered by the depreciating ruble and the climbing prices of new cars. Now the advice is simple: if you want to lose the minimum, take something from among the bestsellers or the unsinkable Toyota. In conclusion, while many people assume that new cars are the best investment, the reality is that certain used cars can hold their value remarkably well, often surpassing the depreciation rates of new vehicles. By focusing on models known for their durability, reliability, and brand reputation, buyers can make informed choices that lead to better long-term value. Whether you're looking for a practical daily driver or a luxury vehicle, understanding which cars lose less in value can help you make a smarter financial decision. Thank you for watching, and we hope this information helps you navigate the car market with confidence.